everybody? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson checking in on King Oba, your #1 source of news and African entertainment on the continent. And I'm here with my boy King Oba. Obotunda?
Yeah.
So I don't want to mess his name up, man. This is a brother like myself. I'm an African American. This is another African American. We're here right now currently in Uganda. And tell us a little bit about yourself, brother.
Well, I'm from Virginia, born and raised. Spent a lot of time out there in the East Coast. I used to live in New York a little bit. I was in the Army for quite some time, and then I got in the Army. Decided I just wanted to do something else with myself, so I didn't go to college or anything like that. Got some trades, and I wanted to work for myself.
All right.
Came to Africa with some vets, and we loved it. I stayed out here for about 10 months. Met my beautiful wife out here, and I ended up staying even longer.
Okay, so for the people, like, we got an interesting story. So 2 weeks ago, I got an Instagram message from the brother about collaborating with King Oba, the channel you're on right now, and I wasn't able to respond, but where I see you at?
We actually met up in the airport. We was on our way to Qatar, if I'm not mistaken.
No, we was in Qatar. Yeah, it was on the way.
Qatar on the way to Entebbe, matter of fact. So it was actually a coincidence.
Right.
I wasn't expecting to meet nobody there, honestly. I wasn't checking for nobody. And I just looked up and I was like, yo, that guy looked familiar. So, yo, let me go holler at him real quick.
Right. So we actually flew from Qatar. I was like, oh, I remember your Instagram message. So we're here today building on this topic, man. And I know I've been to Uganda like 7 times.
I've only been 3.
3, but you spent more. I've been here many times. More. I mean, I've been here more than you, but you've been here longer in duration.
Okay.
Why Uganda though? Like, what makes you live here now?
Yeah, basically.
Why this country?
Now. So originally it wasn't supposed to be this country. It was supposed to be Kenya.
Okay.
And when I got to Kenya, I found out the exchange rate. It's actually a lot similar to how it is in the U.S. Like the exchange is pretty much the same. But in Uganda, your money will stretch a little bit further.
Right.
So that was a big thing to me. I had to find a place where I can budget because I'm the type of guy who has to be self-sufficient.
Right.
I don't depend on anybody else for my survival. So I got to be able to maintain. And I knew I couldn't do that in Kenya, so I stayed here. Now, when I got to Uganda, honestly, I was blown away. Like, this country is really beautiful. Mm-hmm. The scenery is beautiful. Mm-hmm. I love the country life, and I also love the city life.
Right.
It's both. You get the best of both worlds out here.
Right.
The food is amazing.
Right.
The women are amazing here.
Right.
I was told, honestly, no cap on this one, that Uganda is known as a country of like the African girls that got the biggest butts in all of Africa.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So when I heard about that, I was like,
but it's true.
I'm not gonna cap on that.
It's true.
That really took me by surprise. You know, seeing beautiful black women everywhere, just beautiful people everywhere. You know,
just so
peaceful,
just so cool and calm.
Everybody's cool, man. Everybody's chill. Everybody's welcoming here.
Right.
You know,
right.
And when they see a black American come here, it's a surprise because they get a lot of white people here, a lot of Chinese and a lot of Indians, but it's rare to see one of our people here.
Right.
So we get a lot of love. Like, they really embrace us.
So let me ask you this, man, because a lot of people, you know, some of the naysayers, they said, well, man, you know, you're from America. You actually served, and thank you for serving our country and fighting for the United States. But people will say Africans are trying to get out of Africa to get to America. Well, you're already in America. Why do you want to come to Africa?
I can say this. Being that I was in the military, I've been around the country, different countries, and I've seen a lot of different things. And one thing I can tell you is that white supremacy has really set up a system all over this world. It's a global agenda. It's not a countrywide agenda. So I don't want people to think that white supremacy has to do with, you know, just America or the UK or something like that.
Right.
This is a global agenda. And the reason why I'm even bringing this up is because you have Africans who can leave Africa and go to the States and make business and become profitable. But you got black people who were born and raised in the States who can't even get a loan for a business, you know what I mean, without there being some kind of huge interest rate or if they can even get approved for it at all. So for anybody out there that's wondering, Africans who come to America, yes, they can set up shop. Yes, they can, you know, start an established business and really, you know, earn a decent living, send some money back home to Africa and really, like, live comfortably for a long time. And the same thing is vice versa. If we were to come back to the motherland, our money would stretch so much further. I'm talking about you get connections left and right. Every day I meet somebody who want to link up with me to, you know, do any kind of thing or any kind of business, you know what I mean? So the connections are out there, but like I said, it's a system of why, you know, it's set up that way. So I don't want anybody to be discouraged with that whole Africans are coming to America, so why should we go over there? Listen, y'all need to come over here. This is the best kept secret. I don't understand why we don't know about it. Well, I do understand now. But I used to not understand why we don't know so much about Africa. But it's a very small community of media controlling the image of Africa.
Okay.
And because they control the image of Africa, they control how we see and
Right.
how we think of Africa.
Well,
You see what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this, because a lot of people say Africans don't like us. Like my cameraman, he don't like me. But Africans don't like African Americans. Because we have in the States the African community and the African American community. We never go to blows, but there's some contention between the two groups. Those that are that were taken away from Africa and those that are coming. Do you ever feel that when you're here in Uganda that Africans don't like you because you're a Black American and you are less than them or something like that?
Fake news, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you right now. Fake news. You hear me? That shit is fake, all right? When I got here, only reason why I stood out was because of my accent. I'm from the South, so my accent was kind of, hard for people to understand. But outside of that, most people thought I was Ethiopian. So that whole Africans don't like us and all of that, I've never really experienced that here, honestly. I've experienced, like, just rude people all over this world. People, be in their feelings about certain things, but it has nothing to do with my skin color or me being born over there or anything like that. If anything, they come to me because they feel like I can get them connections to go to America. Right. So it ain't no hate at all. I've never really experienced nobody come up to me, hey, you Black American, F you or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I've never experienced nothing like that. It's not like that at all. They want us to come here. Right. It's very welcoming, like I said. The business is booming right now. Right. Y'all need to get your passports and get up over here.
Okay, now let me talk about this because obviously when you live in Uganda, what are some of the challenges? Because obviously, in America there's a lot of things, you have high-speed internet. You have everything accessible to you. You got Best Buy, you got the Walmart, you got Wally World, you got everything, Amazon. You have a lot of things that we're used to in the Western world, and when you come here, it's hard to even if you have the money, it's hard to get certain stuff because you don't know where it's at. People don't, addresses are not very correct. It's hard to find places. How do you deal with the electricity cutting off? How do you deal with those things?
I'm a little bit different than other people because I'm probably military. I am prepared. I always like to be prepared. That's just my biggest thing. I have to be ahead of the game. So when I first came here, I wasn't prepared for a lot of things, but the first thing I had to do was come with an open mind. That's the first thing all of us need to do. We need to understand that we're not back home. We're not, anywhere where you're from. You're in a new country, a new land. So you need to, embrace the culture and be very open-minded. Now, there are a lot of huge differences between infrastructure and business and other things, here versus back home. But at the end of the day, those conveniences don't really, it's not something that will keep me in the States. You know what I mean? It's not a barrier to keep me from coming here. They have a service called Jumia, which is sort of like Amazon. So you can order from Jumia. You can even order food from Jumia's website, and you get delivery just like how you would get it there. Matter of fact, they had delivery services for food before we even had Uber Eats and Postmates and DoorDash and all of that. Right. So that's not an issue. I use my Visa debit card when I need to, or I just use Western Union, so I can get money when I need to. Okay. Now, there's a barrier with that. You got to be careful with ATMs that you go to, and you got to be careful with certain Forexes that you go to because you might get in a bad exchange rate. But other than that, I don't really have too many issues with that. Now, internet sometimes can be an issue because my phone right now is not unlocked, so I have to use Wi-Fi everywhere I go. So you just got to find Wi-Fi, or you can get you a little cheap phone here. Okay. Less than $100, and then upload some data up there, and then use the Wi-Fi, or you can get you a router box, the wireless thing. Okay. Walk around with that. Okay. So
you can find a way, even though you have to be creative, you can still find a way to get you need to be. Let me ask you this last question though. You say you don't want to go back. What's your motive for staying in Africa? I know you have a beautiful wife. I've met her. She's very, very savvy. I saw some of the things that she's created, but why Africa, and why do you think that you were going to stay here and not return to the States?
All right, so in America, we were taught about this thing called manifest destiny, and this is when Mzungus decided that they wanted to go to the western part of America to maximize their potential. Right now, this is my number one goal right now, is to maximize my potential here in Africa. Africa is booming for business. Okay. When I got here and I saw how many white people were here doing business, how many Indians and Chinese are doing business, I'm sitting here trying to understand why we're not over here doing business. Right. So now that I know how open it is and how, you know, welcoming it is for anybody to come here and do it,
Right.
why aren't our people here doing it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's my number one focus is to expose that whole section right there. That business is booming and it's very open and it's very welcoming here.
Okay.
So I'm focusing on that. I'm not really concerned with any of the other things that's going on in America right now. My permanent stay here and the things that I'm trying to do is just start a business, you know, and create some capital for our people.
Right.
Because a lot of us don't really have access to capital, and it's here.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Africa, any country that it's over 50 different countries. You can choose pretty much anyone that you want.
Right.
And there's business everywhere. You just find something to get into. Whether you want to get into agriculture, if you want to get into tech is booming right now in Africa. Any country, even Rwanda right now.
Right. Yeah.
Rwanda's booming with
They got their own
technology.
cell phone now and all that. Okay.
Uganda, they're producing their own vehicles now. Kira Motors, they're producing their own vehicles. They got a fully electric bus that they're about to start producing.
Right.
So I mean, it's booming out here. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to stress to everybody.
Right.
If you don't think that Africa has business, y'all need to come out here and see it for yourself. All right, you can invest in almost anything, and you can get a return back. You just gotta be smart about what you do, where you go to, and what you put your money in. But outside of that, you can invest in anything out here.
All right, so I'm gonna put the brother's YouTube link at the top of the post. Go subscribe to him. First comment pinned to the top. That's the king, the brother here. So he's been here. He's gonna be on the continent building it up, brother. So stay tuned. You guys know. Shout out to you, brothers. King Oba forever. We out.